Ever since the 1980s, we have seen the meteoric rise of the Damdami Taksal, and it now stands as an incredibly popular order amongst Sikhs today. But where does this institution actually originate from? Did Guru Gobind Singh start the Damdami Taksal? Was Baba Deep Singh one of its early leaders? And does the institution actually have its origins in Damdama Sahib, now one of the 5 takhats of the Sikh world? The word Taksal quite literally means mint, and has been used as a term to describe religious places of learning. Of all the hundreds of Taksals dotted all over Punjab and India throughout history, the Damdami Taksal is now the most prominent, and the institution's recent success is felt by Sikhs all over the world. The institution is known for its ability to expound the pronunciations and meanings of Gurbani through the Santhya tradition. Being well within the Khalsa fold, the Damdami Taksal has been very successful in being able to normalise their own code of conduct, their Rehit Maryada, and many Amrit Sanchars today are performed in adherence to Damdami Taksal's own Rehat. The institution proselytises Sikhi to the masses, often without directly using their own name, and because of this, they have become instrumental in shaping modern Sikh discourse from the late 20th century to the present day. The institution is also recognised for having had an influential line of leaders over the last half a century, including Sant Sundar Singh. Our previous episode looked at the Sikh religious landscape in the 18th century, and we talked about the major orders, institutions and sects, which altogether made up the Sikh universe. This included the Nihangs and the Gyanis, who were within the Khalsa, and the Udasis and Sevapanthis, who were amongst the Khulasa, with the Nirmalas showing a variation in between. We can anticipate that if a future historian was to look at the Sikh world today, they would most definitely regard the Damdami Taksal as one of the major forces to exist within early 21st century Sikhi. This is our bonus feature, which follows from our main documentary on the early Sikh traditions. Our main documentary featured a diagram which included the Damdami Taksal, and it can be seen that the Damdami Taksal are shown further down on this chart as a modern-day Jatha. We showed the Damdami Taksal as being an offshoot from the Nirmala order. This can be quite confusing, as the Damdami Taksal themselves claim a lineage going back to Guru Gobind Singh through the Giani lineage. For a quick look into the Giani Abunga, we would first recommend watching Chapter 5 of our main video. In summary, the Giani Abunga was a place of residence for the Gyanis within the heart of the Harmandir Sahib complex, who were first given this honorific title by the Khalsa Sardars. The Giani Abunga was one of the 84 bunge which were built after 1764, following the conquest of Amritsar by the Misl Sardars. This followed a tumultuous period after multiple Afghan and Persian invasions, resulting in the destruction of Harmandir Sahib. Following the consolidation of Sikh rule, these bunge were built for defence, private residence, as well as for different groups like the Nirmalas and Udasis for their teaching. The Giani Abunga hosted the Gyanis, and its building commenced in 1778. Amongst the many Gyanis, the chief Gyani position was established as hereditary by Maharaja Ranjit Singh at the start of the 1800s, with one Gyani family being in control from the time the Bunga was established in 1778 until 1921, a staggering 143 years. It ended with the takeover of the premises by the SGPC following the Akali movement. The chief Gyani was a highly specialised role, and it involved day-to-day management of Harmandir Sahib. From the time of Maharaja Ranjit Singh's reign, only the Maharaja and a cadre led by Sardar Lena Singh Majithia had greater overall command. The chief Gyani performed katha at around the same time every day, and made important decisions on construction work and design. The early Gyanis from this family were of the intellectual and literary elite amongst society, and were proficient in multiple languages, including Sanskrit and Persian. But the Giani Abunga's reach expanded well beyond just the chief Gyani family. The Gyanis were also teachers, and a vast array of students followed in their line as they completed their education and then went on to teach others. A sizable portion of pre-colonial literature produced during the height of Sikh rule is a product of those from the Gyani tradition. This institution, alongside the many bunge it neighboured, can together be regarded as one of the glories of Khalsa Raj during its civilizational peak. This honorific Gyani title has now come to be associated with members outside of this bunga and is commonly used even at our local gurdwaras. The Gyanis residing in the Bunga were all Khalsa Sikhs, and they were able to use their extensive knowledge of scripture and classical Indic texts to proselytize Sikhi. The formal Gyani lineage is essentially an order that is revered by many as an extension of this Gyani Bunga, which was constructed in the 1770s and became extinct in the 1920s. This Gyani lineage is claimed by many within Sikh thought to have spanned from the early 1700s, during the lifetime of Guru Gobind Singh, up into modernity. Many see Damdami Taksal as a continuation of this Gyani lineage from the time of Guru Gobind Singh. These lineages typically involve the master-student relationship, with the master or teacher being revered by the student as their guru of spiritual knowledge. It's important to note that these master-student relationships are not singular, rather a master can teach many different students, and students can also learn from other teachers, so a spiritual lineage can branch off into multiple different directions. The Gyanis shouldn't be confused with the Nirmalas, who are a different order and can be found in chapter 9 of our main feature. The Nirmala order also continue in the format of a lineage, with spiritual knowledge being passed down through a master-student relationship. Nirmalas would traditionally teach within taksals or schools, just as the Gyanis taught within the Gyani Bunga. Though the Nirmalas also placed a heavy emphasis on understanding Sikhi through a Vedantic lens, an important difference is that the Nirmalas were not all Khalsa Sikhs, and in early tradition instead were found largely proselytizing Sikhi in areas of Hindu learning like Hardwar. From a theological perspective, the Gyanis, by largely preaching within the heart of the Sikh fold, were more in line with Khalsa traditions, and the texts they produced reflected this reverence for the Khalsa well. For the Gyanis, their own heavy use of Vedanta and Puranic mythology to explain Sikhi was still subordinated by the overarching concepts enshrined within Gurbani. For the Gyanis, the Khalsa very much stood on its own, was unique, and as you saw from our second episode, the embodiment of a Tisar Panth, or third path. The Nirmalas, who were also steeped within classical Indic thought, however, placed a heavier emphasis on placing these texts, which are now regarded as part of modern-day Hinduism, on par with the Guru Granth, and were in general cooler on the idea of the importance of the Khalsa. It is unclear exactly when the Nirmalas emerged as an order, but as explained in our main feature, they first appear in literature in the latter half of the 18th century. The Nirmalas have continued into modernity, albeit with other branches and fragmentations. Some went into the fold of modern-day Hinduism, whilst others came more into line with the Khalsa after the Singh Sabha movements. This bonus feature will really build on the Gyani lineage, or what you'll commonly hear as the Gyani Samparda and the Nirmala Samparda, to understand the complexities of the Sampardas in Sikh tradition. Being significantly more technical than our main feature, it will involve a lot of names, but we will try our best to distill the most useful information in order to make it understandable and relatable for you. Before we start looking at the Gyani and Nirmala Sampardas, it should be clarified that it's already well established that there are absolutely no mentions of the term Damdami Taksal in any literature from before the 1900s. The famous Mahan Kosh text from 1930 does not contain any note of the Damdami Taksal. In the early 1900s, a mention of a Jatha appears called Jatha Bhindran. This nomenclature was a product of their key location of teaching at Bhindran, near Mogha. The very first of these Bhindranwale sants was Sant Sundar Singh Bhindranwale, who set up his school in Bhindran. In June 1960, his successor Sant Gurbachan Singh Bhindranwale went on to produce a text called the Gurmukh Prakash, which in its first June 1960 edition did not explicitly contain the institution's name. By the 1970s, the Jatha branched off into Jatha Bhindran and Jatha Bhindra-Mehta, the latter of which established itself in Chowk Mehta in Gurdaspur. The name Damdami Taksal, or the school of Damdama Sahib itself, became institutionalized at this point. This was slowly consecrated into their literature from the 1970s, and as evident from their second edition of the Gurmukh Prakash text in 1997, their branding and title can be seen clearly. By this point, they're a household name and etched into Sikh folklore forever after the events of 1984. Despite this modern nomenclature, they believe their recent line of leadership from Sant Sundar Singh Bhindranwale to be a continuation of a lineage going back to the 1700s. In order to examine this in more detail, we'll first start off by looking at the history of the Giani Samparda and by going through its many lineage charts. We'll then be looking at the charts of the Nirmala Samparda, and then finally we'll be concluding by looking at Damdami Taksal's own claimed lineage chart. In our last chapter, we will be giving our verdict on the history and evolution of the Damdami Taksal, and we will examine where this Taksal currently stands amongst the many different strains of modern Sikh thought. We've prepared a whole booklet of charts for you in a PDF format to download, which can be found in the description below. We've also written an article on the early Giani Samparda, which we would really recommend reading for additional context, which is also included within the description. Feel free to explore these, which you may find as a useful reference in addition to this video. Although we have tried our best at a thorough literary search, it's important to note that this is an area where there is very limited scholarship already available. This piece is most definitely not claiming to be the definitive source of information on this topic, so in all likelihood there will be new information that is found. If you do find other sources, especially from the 1700s, please do let us know, and we'll be more than happy to include further findings in future videos to come. The history of the Giani Samparda in the 1700s is extremely difficult to piece together. There are in fact no explicit mentions of the Giani Samparda found in any literature so far from the 1700s. However, we start hearing of this Giani tradition in the 1800s, once Khalsa Raj was well solidified, and the tradition is mentioned in many texts from this period. All of these texts start the Giani tradition with the famous Sikh Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh. From Bhai Mani Singh's Shaheed Bilas biography, we gather that Bhai Mani Singh took Khande Di Paul directly from Guru Gobind Singh. He is recognised to have been the first scribe for the first fully completed Bir of Guru Granth Sahib as we know it today, which also included Guru Tegh Bahadur's Bani. This Bir was called the Damdami Bir. The importance of Bhai Mani Singh as a key figure of the Khalsa can be seen from a Hukamnama from the time of Guru Gobind Singh, who blessed Bhai Mani Singh and his family, and he was installed as head Granthi at Amritsar at the turn of the 1700s. Bhai Mani Singh continued with the Guru on the Guru's journey towards the south in 1707. Shaheed Bilas suggests that on this journey, Guru Gobind Singh told Bhai Mani Singh to head back up north, once they had reached Rajasthan, to continue to preach the Guru's message from Amritsar. It suggested that on reaching Amritsar, Bhai Mani Singh relayed sakhiyan or stories of the Guru for the Sangat of Punjab, who remained separated from their Guru. The style in which these sakhiyan were relayed forms the basis of the Katha tradition we see in Gurdwaras daily. Bhai Mani Singh became a prominent leader after the death of Guru Gobind Singh in 1708, and went on to compiling the Dasam Granth formally, as well as formulating a famous new combined Bir of Adi Granth and Dasam Granth Bani, put together by himself, dated 1713, which is still present today. We can see Guru Gobind Singh's handwriting within this compiled Bir of Bhai Mani Singh. Bhai Mani Singh also attempted to rearrange the hymns of Guru Granth Sahib with the exclusion of Bhagat Bani, but was reprimanded by the Guru Panth at large for this act. There appears to be a flurry of literary activity under the leadership of Bhai Mani Singh in Amritsar, and from the Shaheed Bilas text it appears that he helped organise the Khalsa community after Guru Gobind Singh, being a senior and immensely respected member of the Khalsa during this time. Amongst this literature that we have in possession today, some of these works, which have been said to be Bhai Mani Singh's writings, have been textually proven not to be. One particular text is of critical importance, as it's the last in the series of Janam Sakhi literature we have of Guru Nanak, based on the first var of Bhai Gurdas. The Janam Sakhi text itself refers to Bhai Mani Singh in third person. It's unclear from the dating of this text whether or not this was written down during the lifetime of Bhai Mani Singh or after. One key source, however, which is dated 1828, exactly 90 years after the passing of Bhai Mani Singh, gives us clues for the origins of this text, along with, crucially, the first hints of the Giani tradition. It mentions that Bhai Mani Singh spoke these Sakhiyan, forming part of this overall Janam Sakhi. A Gurbaksh Singh listened to these Sakhiyan, and a Surat Singh wrote these Sakhiyan down. Another key contemporary of the time also mentions the role of Surat Singh in writing this text, and modern scholars believe this to be the work of Surat Singh himself. Gurbaksh Singh and Surat Singh are two key members that follow Bhai Mani Singh in this spiritual master-student relationship, which was the key in the Giani Samparda. A student would learn from the master and then pass this teaching on down, typically in the format of a modern-day Santhya tradition. There's still much confusion as to who Gurbaksh Singh was amongst scholarship. In modern times, Gurbaksh Singh has popularly been associated with the Nihang Shaheed missile. However, this is unlikely. Different scholars give different takes about the identity of Gurbaksh Singh. In another important Sikh text of the 1700s, the Gurbilas Badshahi Dasmi, there is a mention of a different Gurbaksh Singh than the one from the Nihang missile, who actually obtained Shahidi alongside Bhai Mani Singh, but it's unclear whether he's the same person. Another scholar feels this may be a Ram Kanwar, who is also referenced as Gurbaksh Singh in Mahankosh. As much as we've tried to identify Gurbaksh Singh, we just don't have enough information to be able to deduce who this really was, and even the multitude of 1800s texts regarding the Giani lineage do not clearly specify this. Surat Singh forms the critical piece of the Giani Abunga. However, there's little in the way of details surrounding his life in the 1700s. We can be certain that he was the father of one of the most famous Gyanis within the Giani Abunga, Giani Sant Singh. Giani Sant Singh is mentioned prominently in our main feature. Surat Singh's line of succession becomes clear from texts from the 1800s onwards. A much later source mentions that he took Khanderi Paul from Guru Gobind Singh. This is disputed. Interestingly, scholarship has found a very early contemporary mention of Surat Singh himself and his family lineage at Hardwar in 1719, which suggests his birth date prior to this. He was born in Janiort in modern-day Pakistan. We don't have sources for Surat Singh's whereabouts from 1720 to 1770, and we cannot be certain whether he was ever in Amritsar prior to the 1770s, once Khalsa Raj was well established. It appears he definitely was in Amritsar towards the late 1700s. Interestingly, there is a source documented for the construction of the Giani Abunga being built for Surat Singh in 1778. It appears artisans from Surat Singh's hometown, Janiort, were involved in the various construction works around the complex. The trio, Mani Singh, Gurbaksh Singh, and Surat Singh, together are mentioned in a whole host of key sources of the early 1800s as the earliest members of a Giani Samparda. However, questions remain. Despite modern scholarship being confident that Surat Singh did scribe the famous Janam Sakhi, was he even in Amritsar at the time of Bhai Mani Singh, or still in Janiort? When was this Janam Sakhi scribed? Did Bhai Mani Singh intend to start a Giani Samparda, or was this done posthumously? Was this Giani lineage drawn in the 1800s a projection back for Surat Singh's family, once they'd established control at the Bunga amongst the highest echelons of power in the 1800s? The likelihood is we'll never know unless there are more sources we uncover from the 1700s. If you would like a more in-depth look at the Giani tradition in the 1700s, please refer to the article we have published with this documentary. Until now, we've only given you a simple connection between Bhai Mani Singh, Gurbaksh Singh, and Surat Singh. But if you now flick to the additional content we've produced for you in the PDF for the Giani lineage, you can see that there's a vast array of names here of which we have no information about at all. It shows how the simple link between Bhai Mani Singh, Gurbaksh Singh, and Surat Singh may be much more complicated and obscure than it first appears. There's even a multitude of individuals that feature in between Bhai Mani Singh, Surat Singh, and Gurbaksh Singh in some cases. Most have completely different orders and layouts. They do, however, have general patterns which you can decipher looking at them in more detail. Most charts, however, do feature all three important members of the early 1800s texts. Padam in his most recent and extensive scholarship on the Giani Abunga, highlights this point with a chart mentioning 6 different individuals between Bhai Mani Singh and Surat Singh. And in fact, he argues that though Surat Singh was definitely part of the Giani lineage, in all likelihood he didn't directly hear these stories from Bhai Mani Singh. This contradicts many early 1800s sources that give a direct triplet connection between Bhai Mani Singh speaking the stories, Gurbaksh Singh listening, and Surat Singh scribing. Given that most master-student relationships often involve one master teaching multiple students, it is plausible that Bhai Mani Singh too had multiple students and not just Gurbaksh Singh. This can be corroborated by the fact that along with the Janam Sakhi of Guru Nanak, this other key literature that has been clearly textually associated in scholarship with talented students under Bhai Mani Singh. We know next to nothing about these individuals, and their lines appear to be lost in time. Royal patronage from the aristocracy, however, grants Surat Singh and his family with extensive mentions as Khalsa Raj is established, appearing in a multitude of sources from the 1800s. The variants amongst these master-student lineages continue as we go on into the 1800s. We can, however, be certain of the family of Surat Singh through historical records, as the family formed the chief hereditary Giani position in Harmandir Sahib. The hereditary position was established by Maharaja Ranjit Singh and bestowed on Giani Surat Singh. As power was consolidated and secured in Lahore, Giani Sant Singh, Surat Singh's son, was lavishly patronized by Ranjit Singh. Giani Sant Singh produced his own literature, and his famous student Kavi Santokh Singh went on to produce, amongst other literature, the famous Suraj Prakash text. To this day, this text, which was produced through royal patronage at the height of Sikh rule, is the largest single-volume collection of Sikh poetry on the history of the lives and stories of the Gurus, which forms the basis of most Gatha today within all Gurudwaras. If you'd like to listen to this pre-colonial text in a weekly English format, then you can do so by searching for the Suraj podcast. After the passing of Giani Sant Singh, who was very well respected, his son Gurmukh Singh was also involved within the heart of the Lahore Darbar. He also formed one of the court granthis for Maharaja Ranjit Singh. This meant he was also within the court intrigues of Ranjit Singh and his successors. There was a growing power struggle between Gurmukh Singh and another court granthi for influence within the Darbar. As power became increasingly less stable in Lahore, different factions chose opposing sides. This eventually led to Gurmukh Singh's son, Pradyuman Singh, being imprisoned at Amritsar. Despite this, his ability to perform expert gatha like his predecessors was held in wide acclaim. It's documented that his son, Gurbaksh Singh, during British Raj, stopped performing the traditional gatha of the Gyanis. However, he did involve himself within construction work around the complex, as did all of the Gyanis from this family stemming from Surat Singh. In the 1920s, this family's time at Harmandir Sahib came to an end with the takeover of the premises by the SGPC. Of course, as time went on and their influence grew with the master-student links, this became only one of the families of the Gyanis. These Gyanis are said to have taught others, and more branches come off this family tree, and so we see these trees that we have converted increase in size as we continue through the 1800s and into the 1900s. Amongst all the different sets of Nirmala lineages we've reproduced, the 2 most consequential which are related to our area of study are shown here. Some Nirmalas claim their spiritual lineage from a chart which stems from Dharam Singh Pyara, who was in fact one of the Panj Pyare of Guru Gobind Singh, whilst other Nirmalas instead claim a lineage from Baba Deep Singh, shown in this second chart. As you can see from this first chart, there's a first mention of the important Sant Sundar Singh Bhindranwale from the modern Damdami Taksal. The second lineage, which they also hold dear, comes from Damdama Sahib, again containing lots of names which we haven't come across before and are not crucial. We can also see here the figure of Sant Nand Singh from another modern Jathebandi, the Nanaksar. He was essentially the founder of the modern-day Nanaksar establishment, and this Jatha came into being when many Nirmalas took Khande di Paul during the time of the Singh Sabha period. It's important to clarify that no other sources from Sikh literature suggest that Baba Deep Singh or Dharam Singh Pyara started a spiritual lineage via the Nirmalas. So for this reason, it's again hard to verify the historicity of these charts and whether or not they are more an attempt made by the Nirmalas to project a history for their institution with gravitas and historical weight. There's once again little in the way of external sources in Sikh literature regarding other early names on these charts too. Having covered the Giani and Nirmala Samaprdas, now we've got the base to look at the Damdami Taksal in more detail. An important note is that the Damdami Taksal claim a lineage through the Giani Samparda and not the Nirmala Samparda. We can flick to the Damdami Taksal's own claimed chart from the text produced by Sant Gurbachan Singh Bhindranwale. To note, we're using Sant Gurbachan Singh's published chart from his own first edition of Gurmukh Prakash in 1960, and not the lineage he narrates in Katha, which is vastly different. There's also changes made to the second edition of Gurmukh Prakash, outlining a different lineage. It's unclear why the narrated lineage in Katha, and also the second edition of Gurmukh Prakash, which is now in line with their modern chart, differs. All three can be found in the PDFs provided. If you've already viewed the complex reference charts from the Giani lineage section in the PDFs, you'll notice there's lots of overlap in names with this Damdami Taksal section. They also include our familiar key names of Bhai Mani Singh, Surat Singh and Gurbaksh Singh from the simplified charts we drew earlier. We can now zoom into the key branch of the Damdami Taksal, which they claim links them to the historic Giani lineage. You'll notice the name Sant Bishan Singh appears in this case. This is the same Pandit Bishan Singh that was alongside the mentioned Sant Sundar Singh Bhindranwale we spoke about when we went through the Nirmala Samparda in their section. Both of these names, Pandit Bishan Singh and Sant Sundar Singh Bhindranwale, are mentioned on a chart of the Nirmala Samparda. From this branch, you can see that the Damdami Taksal claim the teacher of Pandit Bishan Singh, Harnam Singh Bedi, provides them with a direct link to the Giani lineage. Harnam Singh Bedi, in their chart, links to another Sant, Sant Bhagwan Singh, who is most definitely present in multiple Giani source charts up to 1930. Pandit Bishan Singh and Harnam Singh Bedi are not present in any Giani Samparda sources up to 1930, despite preaching in the latter half of the 1800s. They start appearing within the Damdami Taksal's own literature from 1960. Interestingly, within the textual body of the Jatha's Gurmukh Prakash text, and not the lineage chart shown, Harnam Singh Bedi receives teaching from a different Sant and not Sant Bhagwan Singh. This Sant is narrated in Katha, but has not been included onto the actual lineage chart of the Gurmukh Prakash text. There's no documented reference within any literature as to what, or if any, teaching Harnam Singh Bedi receives from Sant Bhagwan Singh. According to sources from the Damdami Taksal and the Nirmalas, Harnam Singh Bedi resided in Amritsar at Dera Baba Joga Singh. There is good evidence that Pandit Bishan Singh was most definitely a Nirmala Pandit as part of a Nirmala Murala Dera. This is also referenced within Damdami Taksal's own literature, as he received teaching from perhaps the most famous of all Nirmala Pandits, Pandit Tara Singh Narottam. He also received teaching under Harnam Singh Bedi in Amritsar. Most modern scholarship points to the modern-day Damdami Taksal, initially being called the Jatha Bhindra-Mehta or Dera Bhindra-Mehta, which was started by Sant Sundar Singh Bhindranwale. He's the first in line of the Bhindranwale Sants. Coming from his successor, Sant Gurbachan Singh Bhindranwale's biography of him, Sant Sundar Singh is said to have been born in 1883 and was schooled first by his parents in Sikh texts and then in Vedantic grunts by an Udasi named Pandit Jawala Das. He took Khanderi Paul at the age of 10. This would have been around the time of the Singh Sabha movements being in full swing. Eventually he met this Nirmala Sant, Pandit Bishan Singh, from modern-day Pakistan. He would go on to spend 2 years of his life with Pandit Bishan Singh. Having been schooled in different Nirmala, Udasi, and also Khalsa traditions, Sant Sundar Singh Bhindranwale went on to preach widely, establishing centres of learning for Gurbani at Pindarkala, where Khande di Paul would have been also administered in the masses. Sant Sundar Singh then passed on the lineage and the dera to Sant Gurbachan Singh. As well as learning traditional Sikh scriptures, he too was well steeped within Indic texts, and also learnt from Unodasi Mahant, Lal Das. He learnt the interpretation of Gurbani through the famous Faridkot Tika we mentioned in our previous episode, which was produced by a combination of scholars, of the Gyanis, the Nirmalas, and Udasis. He attended religious congregations held by a Singh Sabha in his village. He took Khande di Paul from Sant Sundar Singh. He wrote his own Granth, from where we've included the reference of the lineage chart he has produced. He produced his own distinct rehat-maryada of this Jatha. This differed from the SGPC Rehat Maryada. He really consecrated the Jatha as we see today, and codified its distinct practices. Sant Gurbachan Singh Bhindranwale's successor was then Sant Kartar Singh, and then the famous Sant Jarnail Singh. Damdami Taksal is often now seen as the only Taksal. This is a big misconception. Amongst the many other Taksals, there is also another prominent Taksal called Satoki Gali Taksal, or colloquially called the Amritdhari Taksal. Amongst the many Taksals, this Taksal too claims a lineage from Guru Gobind Singh. We are using their early edition of 1974 here. They've also changed their chart in subsequent editions, similar to the Damdami Taksal, and it is unclear why they did this. You can find all the versions of their claimed charts in the PDFs provided. The lineage of this Taksal is also drawn under the continuation of the Giani lineage by Singh Sabha scholar Bhai Veer Singh too, in his reference text from 1927. However, he did not include the branch of the Damdami Taksal which we have just covered. Bhai Veer Singh of the Lahore Singh Sabha actually took his learning from Satoki Gali Taksal under a famous Giani Amir Singh, who was also traditionally schooled as a Sevapanthi. Satoki Gali Taksal still maintain a strong Sevapanthi tradition. You can learn about the Sevapanthis from our previous video. If you recall, the famous Singh Sabha Lahore intellectual was also initiated with Khande di Paul by another famous Sevapanthi, Ragi Sham Singh. Bhai Veer Singh's grandfather, who he took much learning from, also happened to be one of the key members of the Giani Abunga. You can see on the chart he takes his place inside the Giani tradition under his grandfather on this chart from Satoki Gali. Bhai Veer Singh was also schooled in the Western framework in a church mission school in Amritsar. Bhai Veer Singh, who has since been regarded as a heavyweight in modern Sikh literature, provides an interesting insight into how even traditional centres of learning, like the Sevapanthis and the Gyanis of old, cohabited a space with more modern revolutionary reform thinkers who became prominent with the shift in cultural mores around this time. We can now step back and analyse the full lineage which Damdami Taksal claims as its own from the start. We'll analyse their modern lineage, which also appears on their website. This also matches their subsequent productions of Gurmukh Prakash after the changes to the lineage chart they had made from the first issue. They claim that their lineage goes from Guru Gobind Singh to Baba Deep Singh of the Shaheed Missal. He has not appeared in any other lineage chart which we have reproduced from the Giani Samparda. He does, however, appear in a Nirmala chart, as you saw, but this altogether shows different members appearing to have come after him. If you remember, Baba Deep Singh was mentioned in the Akali Nihang section of our main video. It is well established that Baba Deep Singh did spend much time at Damdama Sahib, and historically has been seen as a figure who was much revered as a scholar. He is said to have taught other scholars at Damdama, and was involved in the scribing of 4 beers of Guru Granth Sahib there. Reference to his scholarship can be found in multiple Sikh sources, even as far back as the 1700s. Baba Deep Singh was historically also the founder of the Shaheed Missal, and was one of the chiefs of the Dal Khalsa. The Damdami Taksal today claim to have had Baba Deep Singh as one of their founders, as is shown in the charts we have reproduced. According to their own literature and Gatha, 48 Singhs were given Santya by Guru Gobind Singh, and they all passed away and were all given mukti or liberation by the Guru. Of these 48, 2 Singhs were instructed by the Guru to stay and teach. These were both Bhai Mani Singh and Baba Deep Singh. Bhai Mani Singh is said to have established a seat of teaching at Harmandir Sahib, and Baba Deep Singh at Damdama Sahib. Damdami Taksal's sources continue by suggesting that of the 2 leaders, Bhai Mani Singh at Amritsar and Baba Deep Singh at Damdama Sahib, their lineage continued through Baba Deep Singh. They corroborate this with the Amritsar Satoki Gali Taksal's literature in the 1960s, which suggests that Surat Singh continued on the seat of Baba Deep Singh, whilst the Amritsar Taksal continued in Amritsar through Bhai Mani Singh. Taking all of the literature from the 1800s into consideration, there's no evidence at all for Surat Singh following on and taking the seat of Baba Deep Singh at Damdama Sahib. Instead, he was said to continue the line of Bhai Mani Singh in Amritsar. In fact, there is nothing documented which supports the narrative of the Giani Samparda branching into the Damdami and Amritsari or Satoki Gali Taksal so early on in the 1700s to early 1800s. The different branches which later attained those names to define them appear to have come much later, and as you can see, the difference occurs much time after the lifetime of Baba Deep Singh and Bhai Mani Singh. Further to this, no historic Giani Samparda charts include Baba Deep Singh. Baba Deep Singh first starts appearing in Giani Samparda sources from the Damdami Taksal in the 1960s. It's likely that Baba Deep Singh has been added to this modern lineage as a projection for his historic link with Damdama Sahib, and hence the use of the modern nomenclature Damdami Taksal. After this, the chart goes on to showing Gurbakh Singh, who the Damdami Taksal identified as Nihang Gurbakh Singh from the Shaheed Missal. As mentioned before, there's no definitive evidence to support this claim that this is the same Gurbakh Singh from the Nihang Shaheed Missal. We've already discussed Surat Singh, who appears in their chart too. Damdami Taksal then claim a lineage through the famous Giani Sant Singh. The next in line in the Damdami Taksal chart is another Sant, Sant Bhagwan Singh, being taught by Giani Sant Singh. In all the other charts we've converted for reference in the 1800s from the Giani lineage, this Sant was not taught by Giani Sant Singh in any of them. The charts are quite consistent in taking a different line away from Giani Sant Singh. In fact, in Damdami Taksal's own first edition of Gurmukh Prakash, the lineage does not go through Giani Sant Singh. This has been subsequently changed in later editions of Gurmukh Prakash, which takes this lineage through Giani Sant Singh. This is present in versions today, including their own website. From here, we get a branch towards Pandit Bishan Singh, who we've already spoken about. After Pandit Bishan Singh comes Sant Sundar Singh Bhindranwale. Damdami Taksal claim in their Gurmukh Prakash text that a contemporary of Guru Gobind Singh came to Sant Sundar Singh at the age of 243, and he relayed the history of the 10th Guru to him directly as a first-hand source. Damdami Taksal, as we know today, or Jatha Bhindra-Mehta, was founded by Sant Sundar Singh Bhindranwale in the early 20th century, with a more formalized Jatha and rehat-maryada being consecrated by his successor Sant Gurbachan Singh Bhindranwale. From a historical point of view, it is fair to regard Sant Sundar Singh as the Damdami Taksal's first Jathedar. Their rehat-maryada emerged in the 1950s to 60s and continually evolved up until the 1980s. This explains why some aspects of their rehat contrast with much earlier Khalsa Rehatname from the early 1700s, which we touched upon in our previous videos. Looking at all the lineages in their entirety, there's good evidence of the Damdami Taksal having a strong connection to the Nirmala Samparda. This is evident through Sant Sundar Singh Bhindranwale's connection with Pandit Bishan Singh, and in turn his strong textual connection to Pandit Tara Singh Narottam, along with the Murala Dera. As we've seen, there's much weaker evidence of their origins being rooted within the Gyanis, and no external sources prior to their own June 1960, and the Satoki Gali charts, documenting the presence of their lineage within the Giani Samparda. At a critical junction, there is no textual source documenting the modern lineage chart they display. Leaving all of this aside, by examining the many sources we have reproduced on the Giani Samparda from the 1800s onwards, We can say with confidence that the modern lineage the Damdami Taksal now claims, through two key personalities, Baba Deep Singh and Giani Sant Singh, is highly unlikely. The founder of the Jatha, Sant Sundar Singh, had numerous influences, including Rodasi, his parents, as well as a village granthi who provided him with a grounding in Khalsa principles during the period of the Singh Sabha movements. His successor, Sant Guru Gobind Singh Bhindranwale, also had a similar upbringing too. All of these different schools of thought likely coalesced into this new Jatha's formation in the 1900s. This point is often overlooked when discussing the origins of the Damdami Taksal. This is in large part through their own branding, which deems earlier members of the claimed lineage as Jathedars of the Damdami Taksal. This crafts a direct link to Guru Gobind Singh, which showers the institution with much weight and credibility amongst the vast array of other Jathas and Sampardas that exist. As we've seen, there's little historical precedence to any direct link, rather there's a meshwork of different master-student links. Putting aside the vast array of sources we've seen, what makes any real historical analysis incredibly challenging is that there are even major discrepancies in what Sant Guru Gobind Singh Bhindranwale himself narrated and presented. More recent literature from Satoki Gali Taksal or Amritdhari Taksal may corroborate with Damdami Taksal's charts, but these too have been changed in their more recent editions, and their changes close to mirror the edits made by Damdami Taksal. This may have been due to the warm relations maintained between the two Taksals, as well as the rising popularity which the Damdami Taksal saw from the days of Sant Guru Gobind Singh to present. Ironically, the very edits made by Satoki Gali Taksal in recent subsequent renditions deviates their original lineage away from the one key source which documents their history, by Veer Singh's 1927 text. Much like the Damdami Taksal and their edits, they instead take their lineage through the illustrious Giani Sant Singh instead. Nevertheless, there's much stronger evidence for the line of Satoki Gali Taksal going through the Giani Samparda, despite these more recent edits. This is evidenced not only in Bhai Veer Singh's chart, but also in Gurmukh Prakash of Sant Bhagwan Singh teaching Sant Amir Singh. Despite the Damdami Taksal being a modern institution which emerged in the backdrop of the Singh Sabhas, from a theological perspective they still provide a remarkable insight into the 18th and 19th century forms of Sikh teaching, and their founding fathers took much of their learning from these more traditional sects. Their curriculum, for those performing Katha, still contains vast amounts of content from Vedantic texts, including famous Nirmala scholars of old. Despite this strong Vedantic seminarian tradition, the Jatha is at odds politically with modern-day Hinduism, especially from the time of Sant Jarnail Singh, and so should not be mistaken for being entirely a continuation of the legacies of Nirmala institutions of old. Perhaps the modern Jatha more appropriately resembles the historic Khalsa Deras, which we haven't yet discussed, like the Kukas and Dera Naurangabad. Both Deras carried a strong Sant culture and had a more grassroots way of proselytizing to the masses, whilst being well within the Khalsa fold in the 19th century. They contrasted with aristocratic figures like Giani Sant Singh, whose Gyaniya Bunga was an institution which was instead embedded within Sikh royalty. Building upon taboos in Rehat Maryada of modern Jathebandiya in our main feature, though the Damdami Taksal claim to be an extension of the Giani Samparda, it appears as though some of their practices also deviate from what was expounded by the Gyanis of the Bunga. Looking at the premier text of the Gyaniya Bunga, the Suraj Prakash, its author Kavi Santokh Singh liberally mentions the Gurus and the martial Khalsa eating meat, not only during times of war or dire need. Kavi Santokh Singh famously quoted Guru Gobind Singh as saying a Sikh is one who eats meat, and a Brahmin is the one who does not. At the time, Kavi Santokh Singh received criticism from Nirmala Pandit Tara Singh Narottam for the inclusion of meat being historically served within the langar of Guru Angad. The presence of meat being served in langar of Guru Angad was based on an earlier source from the descendants of Guru Amar Das. As you saw in the main video, as a general rule of thumb, Nirmalas, along with other Sant and Baba traditions like the Sevapanthis and Udasis, avoided meat and intoxicants completely, and this could explain where the Damdami Taksal derived their Maryada from. There were, however, some exceptions to this norm. and the Khalsa Nirmalas of the 19th century, Giani Gyan Singh, who has been mentioned in almost all of our videos, did freely write of the Khalsa historically consuming meat as well as alcohol, and only prohibited halal meat in his Rehat-Maryada on the eve of the Singh Sabha's prominence. This goes to show how Nirmala practices varied too, especially amongst those that had considered themselves as being also part of the Khalsa. As seen in our main production, many Nirmalas lay in between both the Khalsa and the Kulasa. The historic 18th century Khalsa Rehat-Maryada were quite unanimous in their prohibition of only halal meat. The Akal Takht Amritdhari Maryada aligns with this. The Damdami Taksal hold a strict vegetarian tradition of the Jatha, which extends back to the Kathas of Sant Guru Gobind Singh Bhindranwale, banning the general consumption of meat entirely for their Jatha. As recently as the 1980s, popular Jathedar Sant Jarnail Singh listed alcohol as a fifth Bajjar Kurehat in the Damdami Taksal Rehit Maryada, adding to the original 4 Bajjar Kurehats which appeared in the standardized SGPC Maryada. In a Katha, he in fact declared that Amritdhari Sikhs, who were found to be drinking alcohol, should be burnt alive. It appears that amongst all of the Nirmala-inspired strains of thought in the modern era, the Damdami Taksal and Nanaksar have adopted the most rigid interpretations of vegetarianism and are strictly against any use of intoxicants, focusing instead on what they consider as being spiritually pure. Outside of taboos and Maryada, another area of study would be to see how fluid the boundaries between Nirmalas and Gyanis were earlier on. In fact, there is one mention written by Giani Gyan Singh of Gyani Sant Singh being taught by Nirmala Pandit Nihal Singh. So was there some Nirmala influence within the early Khalsa-centric Gyani tradition too? Or was this instead Giani Gyan Singh being a Nirmala scholar himself, projecting back to enhance the claim of the Nirmalas influencing the early Gyani lineage? Considering how fluid religious boundaries were before colonialism, the intermingling of these two groups in this meshwork of connections was more than likely. Exactly how differently did their writings vary? This again is an area which really needs more research. Though this video mainly examines the claims which Damdami Taksal narrate about their origin story, it should be noted that many other Taksals, Sants, Babas and Sampardas also claim their own origins as being from famous Khalsa figures and Shaheeds of old, if not Guru Gobind Singh himself. We hope we have provided you with a mechanism and trail of thought which you can use to trace the origins of the Jathebandiyas and Sampardas which interest you the most. We also hope that this episode has given you more of an understanding of the basis of Sant, Baba and Sampardayic culture within Sikh thought, whereupon a student follows their master and thereby continuing a spiritual lineage. It extends much further than a simple master-student relationship, however, as Sant culture often involves a large following with a mythos surrounding their personality and accompanying texts and kathas consecrated in their reverence. This, you will see, is especially popular amongst individuals part of Sampardas. Though the Sampardayic culture has recently seen a resurgence in modern-day Sikh thought, it's important to also consider how perceptions of Sampardas have varied through the ages. Whether or not modern-day Sampardas deserve to be held in high esteem all depends on your interpretation of Sikhi. You may be a Sikh who feels the best way to experience Sikhi is by having your own spiritual connection with the Guru Granth and Guru Panth, without the need of any human spiritual intermediaries, via Sants, Babas or Jathebandis. This was in fact the basis of the Singh Sabha Lahore's guiding principles. The Singh Sabha Amritsar, however, placed a heavy importance on spiritual lineages, and if you remember from our first video, a feud erupted when a cushioned seat of Khem Singh Birdi was removed from the Darbar Sahib in Amritsar. If we were to compare Sikh traditions with Christianity, you could say that Samparda and Sant culture is more Catholic, where a heavier importance is given to saints and a priestly order. This can be seen amongst the modern-day Akali Nihang, Damdami Taksal and Nanaksar, who place a heavy emphasis on their Jathedar Sant or Baba. This contrasts with outlooks such as the Singh Sabha Lahore, who are now in the form of the SGPC, and the Singh Sabha Pasor, who have in some ways influenced the AKJ and more missionary schools of thought. These schools of thought can instead be seen as being more Protestant in their outlook, and they place less of an emphasis on the need for giving reverence to these individuals, or the need for any spiritual intermediaries between themselves and the Guru Granth. Please do like, comment, subscribe and share, and please do read our extended literature. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for future episodes to come.